Okay, here we are in our third section of 1-0 two-step equations. Now I want y'all to look at problem number 1. We have 3x minus 8 equals 16. And you might remember this mnemonic from earlier years, PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication. What do you think the D, A, and S stand for? Well, division, addition, subtraction. And going from the top to the bottom is essentially the order in which we do things. We take care of the parentheses, then we take care of the exponent, then we take care of the multiplication, so on and so forth. However, whenever we're solving for x and we're doing the inverse operation, what does the inverse mean? It means the opposite. So we actually wind up doing all these things in a reverse order. So what I would like for you to do is get in the habit of writing out PEMDAS vertically with an arrow going up, and then I want you to label the actions that you see. So we know that when two things are side by side, they're being multiplied. So I put a star by the M. And I see this subtraction symbol here. I see the minus 8, so I'll put a star by the S. Now, since we're doing PEMDAS in reverse or from the bottom to the top, what is the first action that you see starred? Well, we see that the S is the first action starred. And what this tells us is that we want to get rid of the subtraction first. So, what is the opposite of minus 8? Well, plus 8. Now, a lot of students get confused. Where do I put my other plus 8 to keep the equation balanced? And if it helps, draw a dotted line through your equal sign. So if we add 8 to the left, well, now we have to add 8 to the right. So we have 3x equals, and 16 plus 8 will give us 24. Now how do we get rid of the 3? Well, we divide both sides by 3, and we know that 24 divided by 3 would give us 8. Alright, let's look at problem number 2. Now I want you to do the same thing. Let's write PEMDAS down the left with the arrow going up. We see here a negative 4 times x, so we know that there is some multiplication. And then next we see the plus 8, which means there's actually some addition. Okay, so going from the bottom to the top, what is the very first thing that you see starred? Well, it's, in this case, it's the addition. And ask yourself, what is the opposite of plus 8? Well, it's minus 8. Once again, I would have you draw your dotted line through the equal sign. And we know that if we subtract 8 from the right, we have to subtract 8 from the left. And 12 minus 8 will give us 4. And 4 equals negative 4x. Now, I forgot to do this in the previous problem, but going back to PEMDAS and going on up, we've just taken care of the addition. And the next thing we have starred is the multiplication. And how do you get rid of multiplication? Well, you have to divide. And so we divide both sides by negative 4. And we know that 4 divided by negative 4, a positive divided by a negative is a negative, and 4 divided by 4 is 1, which is equal to x. Now I would encourage you to pause the video right here and to finish writing your answers or finish writing down your notes. But I'm going to clear this and move on to our third and fourth example. Okay, here we have example 3. And let's say this. Let's say 9 equals 5 plus 1/3 z. 9 equals 5 plus 1/3 z. Well, I'd go ahead and I write my PEMDAS, my arrow going up. And we see the z, the variable, is on the right side of the equal sign. And I would ask you, what two operations do you see? Say it out loud. And you should have said multiplication and addition, because we see that big plus sign there. And it's not so much that this is the plus sign, it's that the 5 is positive. That's why we have addition. Okay, so going from the top to the bottom, the first thing we see is the addition. And we know the opposite of addition is subtraction. So we subtract 5 from the right, we subtract 5 from the left, and 9 minus 5 will of course give us 4. Now we have 1/3 z. And we know that this was multiplication, but in order to get rid of a fraction, we always multiply by the reciprocal. And so what is the reciprocal of 1/3? Well, reciprocal means to flip, which would be 3/1, and those cancel. But remember, multiplying by 3/1 is the same as just multiplying by 3. And so 3 times 4 will give us 12, which is equal to z. Okay, last example. Here is example number 4. And why don't we do something like this? Let's do -3 minus 1/2 b is equal to 8. So we write PEMDAS going down the left-hand side with our arrow going up. And let's label the interactions that we see. We see the -1/2 times b. So we have our multiplication. And notice, is the 3 a positive or a negative? Well, it's a negative, which really means that we have subtraction rather than addition. So how do I get rid of my subtraction? How do I get rid of a -3? Well, +3, I drop my dotted line, +3 on the right, and those go away. We now have -1/2 b is equal to, and we know that 8 plus 3 would of course give us 11. Now I'd ask you, think about it, say it out loud. What is the reciprocal of -1/2? We know that reciprocal means to flip, so it's really -2/1. And those both go away. And we get b equals, but don't forget, we have to multiply the 11 on the right by -2, which is the same as -2/1. And 11 times -2 will give us -22. And we have our answer. Alright, I hope that these examples help, and I'll see you guys in our our fourth section coming up.